Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of AOE League Season 14. This is the Division N players, Tumblwd versus LeOri, the Play All 2 game that they're going to be playing for placement points to determine who makes it to the semifinals and the finals within this Group 2 of Division N. So, this is one that I've been particularly excited for. I think it's a great matchup between two interesting players. Let's introduce the players now, see what they are about. So jumping over here, LeOri. We've seen him in a previous game. This is our man from Morocco. Likes the Huns, the Bohemians, the Jurkins. And he notified me that he is not from the capital city, but rather from Rabat. So calling this man the Claw of Rabat or the Roar of Rabat because his favorite animal was a lion. Something to note as well is that Morocco is actually home or was home to a wild lion called the Barbary or Atlas lion. It's like a more mountainous, probably a stronger, larger lion than what we traditionally think of for the sub-Saharan African lions of those plains. So interesting, a little factoid there for you. But he specifically likes the Tarkin Raider as his favorite unit and likes the Huns, so we'll see if we see them today. Pikachu was his Pokemon of choice, but that's only because that's the only one he knows. If you look at the win rates by match duration, you're seeing a Castle Age spike there, so some all-in aggression I'm thinking of, some Castle Age pressure, but not terribly awful at the other sides of that Castle Age timing by any means. And not a great sample size either, so don't put too much value into those statistics yet. But when it comes to LeOri, he picked Mirkwood. We saw him on this map previously. I like the way he plays it. I like the way he plays this game. I'm excited to see. Seems like a more aggressive player, which is going to be interesting for this specific matchup. And we'll get to that second player in a moment. But for least favorite civilization to play against, it is the Britons. So our man from the UK, the anarchist from Albion, is going to be up against an individual that does not like to play against the Britons. So this British berserker, Tumblwd, favorite civilization is the Britons. So I'm expecting those to get banned away. And we'll see how Tumblwd adapts to that situation. Now, favorite unit was the Karambit Warrior. Spiritual animal was the dodo bird. Interesting selection there. But for other most played civs, it was Magyars and Franks. Really solid, straightforward civilizations with really great game plans. So I'm expecting some really strong game plans. But the map that I'm most excited for in this group is Border Dispute. Now, we'll talk more about this on the maps, but this is one of, if not the most aggressive maps in this division, maybe in this tournament. It's incredibly aggressive. There's a lot of laming that can happen and a lot of crazy stuff that can happen. And I think it suits this player expertly because if you look at those win rates by match duration, this is a high early game pressure player, somebody who can really put on that aggression, really duke it out early on. And I expect that pressure and aggression on Border Dispute especially. Doesn't like the Teutons or the Turks, doesn't want to play against those civs, so we'll see if those are some of the bans coming in. But that will be an interesting one for sure. And then for the spirit, not the spirit animal, but for the Pokemon, it was Ditto. And also from Futurama, a character from Futurama. The name is escaping me, but if you've ever watched Futurama, great show to watch if you haven't seen it. Fantastic, funny, interesting. Some really great episodes too that aren't just about being funny, but are actually a little bit emotional maybe. So good episodes there, good show to watch if you want looking for something to binge. But let's get on to the maps now. So Mirkwood, this is a map we saw in a previous set with LeOri and Cristela. I thought this was an excellent map. It's a newer one, probably about a month ago it was added. There is shorefish on the outside, which I confirmed. In that set, I wasn't 100% sure if I could find them, but they're actually really close to the outside trees. If you also notice, the water is like a swampy water that you can walk on. So land units can kill your opponent's fishing ships if they want to go for a dock opening. I forgot to mention it's a nomad or like a migration style map. So you got to build your TC, you got to choose and build everything from there. Lots of boars, lots of hunt. Great map to play. I think it's going to be really exciting. It's one of my favorite maps in this group, and it's a really interesting new addition by Microsoft to add this map in. So fantastic one. I'm excited to watch this. This is a great map. Now, Border Dispute. Okay. This is an aggressive map, a very aggressive map. Tumbleweed picked this one. This is from Warlords 4 specifically, which I need to mention is a 9 villager start. So expect it to be hectic and chaotic from the jump because the sort of the timing, you never really get situated with this map. Everything starts right away. So we'll see how the players adapt to that. All 4 of the boars are in that center there of the map, which can be really aggressive really fast. Laming is already allowed on most maps within AOE leagues. They don't allow laming. They don't allow you to wall in villagers on Nomad, for example. Those are some of the rules before 4 minutes that they have made for the maps to make them a little bit more, a little bit less high variance, we'll say. And this map, that rule is completely gone. You're allowed to be as aggressive and lame as possible. But there's also a swamp in the middle that has fish, shorefish specifically. So getting those minerals will be important. Getting the food in the middle will be important. The aggressive map should make it be very chaotic. So excited to see that. We'll obviously talk more about that once we get into the games themselves. But here are the bans. LeOri bans the Malians, the Slavs, and the Britons. Expected that Britain ban, and there it is. So no Britons for the the British player. Tumbleweed bans the Wu, the Spanish, and the Hun. So also snipes the favorite pick from LeOri. So neither player will be playing on their most comfortable civ, but let's see how they adapt to these crazy maps, and let's see how they adapt to the crazy playstyles of both players. So jumping into game number 1, we have Dravidians for Tumbleweed, and we have LeOri on the Khitans. Khitans, obviously a very powerful civilization. I think everybody has maybe either experienced themselves firsthand or seen just how crazy their food economy can be with the pastures, which only cost 100 wood. I say only, they cost 100 wood, but they allow 2 villagers to work on it, so they're a bit safer near the TC. But they are kind of fragile, so you can definitely kill them with range units. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Dravidians are very good for Nomad. They get population space from the dock, which allows for you to do like a dock build with skipping one of the houses you would need, which means that you can get the fishing ships out earlier. And also, your fishermen and fishing ships carry more fish, so they're more efficient. They fish efficiently. The 200 wood bonus is also really nice for good smooth transitions. You can add a range and a blacksmith, or you can add a range and a stable pretty much immediately, which can be very effective. It's just a solid bonus all around. They are lacking the Nightline, which can be really difficult to play against, because the Khitans don't have the Knights either, but they have the Step Lancers, which are very, very strong for them. And I forgot to mention the Khitans, their melee attacks are doubled. So if you get Foraging, you have +2 attack instead of +1. And then by extension, if you get the +2 armor attack, it's Iron Casting. If you get Iron Casting, you get +4 attack and Castle Age, which is just really strong, especially if you have a bunch of Step Lancers. So expect to see some of that. But going into this game specifically, how they're playing it out, we've already got the dock from LeOri. And while I'm doing this, let's switch these colors here just to be standardized. We've got some water buffalo on the map being collected, and a chicken. I love the little chickens running around. Collecting some chickens, collecting some water buffalo. The dock is pretty solid on the timing, but this does mean that LeOri is missing a house. So maybe should have prioritized a house before the dock there. So we'll see if Tumbleweed takes advantage of the start here. Tumbleweed's kept the TC running, but you can see queued up Loom. So maybe going to prioritize a boar pull from farther away, and just wants to make sure his villagers are very safe to do so. I wonder if he's going to send out a villager to go do a dock. It kind of looks like that's what the plan is here. And so we'll see a dock on a good timing. That will give him also more population space. So dock plus house. So we're going to see probably 15 and then 20 population, which should be about enough to get up to feudal age on a solid timing. And he hasn't idled his TC yet, so very well done from him. Boar being pulled in, or rhino rather, being pulled in. Oop, I think he might let it go. Oh, there we go. Okay. Gets the boar, or the rhino, and that will be really solid. But now let's take a look at what the players see. So Tumbleweed knows where the TC location is. This house here spots it. Let's see if LeOri knows if there is a TC there from his opponent. Yep, I think he sent a water buffalo or maybe a wild chicken, or just a tame chicken, I guess. There. So all of this is done. Now the forward villager actually picks up the water buffalo. Some food being lost on both sides or exchanging hands on both sides. Shouldn't be too bad though, because these rhinos will allow for LeOri to get up on time. Does not know this rhino's here, which isn't great. I wonder if he knows that this rhino's here. Doesn't either. It might walk back into the known fog of war positions and show itself. But fishing ships are here for Tumblwd. Really good build all around by him. So we'll see if he keeps producing out of there. The fishing ship, though, did come in from LeOri. So both of them have a really solid start here. I think LeOri, in the first time he played on this map, didn't go for fishing ships. So good adaptation, strategizing, improving, becoming better, which is great. Love to see that. And also using the fishing ship to scout to pick up these wild chickens on the outside. Pretty smart decision making there. Might be able to also scout this boar, which is going to be hard to get, but not impossible if you want to get real crazy with it. I don't think there's that many. Unfortunately, this isn't a water buffalo spawn, but a chicken spawn. So the food on the map is actually less than what it would traditionally be. I've seen a generation with water buffalo, so you'll have more food generally on the water buffalo generations. But getting information is really good, knowing that your opponent's on a dock. But I think he didn't scout the shoreline, so not getting the shoreline's not great. You can also see the chicken on near the shoreline. So if he did do the shoreline instead of out here, I mean, you'd obviously miss some of these maybe, but you definitely get these. There's some chickens here too, right? So it's really good that he's doing this loop. Information is really powerful on these nomad server style games. It can be really useful for determining what you want to do, if you need to respond to a fast castle, or what you're about, you know. So there's that. Neither of them clicked to feudal yet. A bit of idle time building up now. This is where it becomes more difficult because you want to make that race to feudal happen, but you also want to maintain and balance your economy. So here's this fishing ship coming out here. 3 fishing ships for the Dravidians and 1 fishing ship for LeOri, which isn't awful. I think the Ketons are one of the few civilizations that could ignore water entirely and be fine with the pastures because they're just so strong. I love outposts early on in Nomad as well, like Nomad style maps, but it doesn't exactly give him all the information he wants. I wonder if you can see that rhino being pulled. Nope. So rhino coming in. I think that is the second rhino for Tumblwd. It might only be the first. Also long distancing the deer just to make sure he has enough food to go up, because that feudal timing can be really important, especially on a map with water, to secure water quickly. And sorry, you'll have to excuse all my sniffling. I'm kind of like at the end of allergy season for us here. And I've taken a Claritin and I'm waiting for it to kick in and really help me out here. Taking the pastures though, this is really good. So I think if the Keton player wants to play a little bit of a longer feudal, totally fine. Could play a fast castle with like step lancers coming in. I love the position though of the TC here. Got the gold and the wood really close by, so that's really great. This wood is a little bit more exposed, or wood. This gold is a little bit more exposed rather, but not awfully so. Definitely possible to wall this maybe and just give yourself a little bit of space here. But yeah, it should be a good map in that regard for both of them. I think they both selected really good positions. Dropping a bunch of houses, making sure not to get housed. Okay, so Tumblwd does have enough to go up to castle and definitely could click right now. Yep, or feudal rather, not castle, sorry about that. So that's a good timing as well, because right as they were getting the house, they just decided to go straight up. So avoid the idle time, just go up. Now this means that LeOri's going to be behind on the castle timing, but will likely have a really solid food eco behind it. I mean, it's about the same amount of fishing ships with 4 more villagers for LeOri. So that should play out really well. I wonder, did they get town patrol? I wonder what they did so long. I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm just blind. I haven't researched it myself. So Town Patrol, there we are. Okay, Feudal is going to be hit by both of them about relatively the same timing, but I do think the Dravidian player has an advantage when it comes to playing for water from the Ketons, but the Keton player can rely on the pastures way more. A little bit more about the matchup too is I think the elephants, the elephant archers are pretty solid. But probably like a archer play is very likely from the Dravidians. It's very solid. Expo can be really good to defend against Step Lancers because they don't... Ketons, the one thing about their cavalry units is even though they hit really hard, they are very fragile. They lack bloodlines. So having a bunch of massed Expo can really take them down quickly. But that being said, the Keton player always has access to skirmishers, which I think they're fully upgradable with Bracer and the Archer armor. So, yep, fully upgrades there, chemistry, ballistics, everything. So, with the economy that they have, it'll be really good. Okay, so no fire ship yet, or fire galley, I guess, from Dravidians, which maybe is a little bit of a mistake, but he's going to play for land control, because I think both of them are so heavily invested on water that investing in a counter to the water units might be effective. But also, like I said earlier, when we were talking about the maps, you can use your like men-at-arms to kill fishing ships. This is all walkable terrain, so it is something that you can utilize land control to do. So it's not as if land control can't stop these navies from expanding. But there's a little bit of a wall off here for the militia of the Dravidians. Man-at-arms coming in on a good timing here. So with this early pressure, it's also all about making sure that your units can, while your units are doing their job, creating effective advantages for you, like pressure and making people build and spend the resources. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is really unfortunate. He went forward to build the wall. That's just unlucky. You can lock these before they're fully built, but that's just not great. He just went forward to die. But the thing I was trying to say is that while your man-at-arms are doing damage, it's important to maintain your TC production. Otherwise, everything they get in terms of the damage could be negated by you failing to produce. Right? But we'll see how that plays out. Foraging coming in, so we're seeing a large investment of man-at-arms to counter the man-at-arm investment. Spearman's coming in, which is kind of okay, but we haven't seen a stable yet, I don't think. Oh, there's the stable. I don't know if that was scouted. I guess you would kind of expect it with Ketons, but look at this. LeOri's up to Castle Age. Well done by him. Did not invest too much. And this is also the power of these pastures. Kind of ridiculous, honestly. It's a combination of the pastures also idling the TC to get the castle and having the men-at-arms here to defend. Forging is in, they get +2 versus the other infantry. So this upgrade are not going to be useful. Yep, this is something that needed to be worried about by Tumblwd. I think if he pulls his army back when he sees the militia or the man-at-arms, you need to know that the potential for foraging and the double attack is just really strong. Good wall up though, solid wall up. Now the Castle Age pressure is going to be ridiculous, right? And not only can he just keep pumping out man-at-arms, but the Castle Age timing is going to result in a boom very likely, or an investment into Step Lancers, which is just going to rip apart the spread out eco that traditionally happens on these nomad style maps. I mean, like, can you imagine a Step Lancer here, a Step Lancer here, Step Lancers here? It just ruins the economy really quickly. And so while these walls will keep out the men-at-arms and maybe even the longswords, that's the upgrade we see in Castle Age. It's not going to stop mobile units like Step Lancers. So we'll see how that happens. Not to mention the ability or the option to go for boom also is there for sure. But I think the wood economy is just not quite there. The food economy for sure is there to go for Step Lancers. So we'll see if that's invested or what is invested in. And although Tumblwd is not to castle yet, still has 2 villager kills, still has the eco lead. You can see the resources collected is pulling ahead for him. And so we'll see if that can translate into a defendable position or not. But iron casting and longswordsmen coming in, that is going to be hard to stop. Not only are the longswords clearly better, but the +4 attack is so devastating. The 2 armor versus the attack of a longswordsman is 6 +2 +4 instead is going to be 10 damage versus 2 armor, just cutting through them like butter. And that's not even a lot. The upgrades didn't even kick in yet. Longsword is barely effective. That's why Iron Casting's in now. So this could snowball really quickly. I wonder if LeOri will add siege. His wood eco is not all the way there. You can see he forgot the double bit axe upgrade. So Tumblwd still has the potential to return in this game with a lot of eco. He might want to switch to an archer composition at this point. But castle timing is likely right here now. Right behind this villager. Farm eco is pretty solid. 19 farms. The pastures can match that almost, but not to mention the fishing ships are gathering. Both of them have relatively untouched fishing ecos for each side over here, even though they're very close to each other. They could pressure their fishing ecos, cause them to have a disadvantage there. But just killing all of these buildings makes it harder to keep up production. Slowly attacking down houses, killing down houses, and then eventually being able to add siege for like a ram push right here. Yep, here comes the rocket cart. So this will be a threat on the TC here. All while this is happening, so many buildings going down. If he runs over here, this could be dangerous. He could also attack here or here. And this also is going to go down. You can see the population cap slowly decreasing here. And all of these farms are now under pressure too. Maybe putting the farms farther back or putting the farms here and walling this way just to create more space as much as possible. Castle on the way. Villagers being pushed off farms. But Tumblwd's got so much food banked up, so I think he can really do a lot with this wood and this food eco. Could add a bunch of his own barracks to keep staying on gold. It's hard because he got pushed off the gold, so he's really having a problem there. But adding a TC here, maybe immediately, yep. And another TC somewhere maybe over here for gold would be really good. You could even try to buy gold or buy stone after selling food and wood and go for like a 4 TC boom and just spread out. Try to survive. Second rocket car on the way. Pasture upgrade. Still missing double bit. See if he discovers that. Gambeson's decent for TC fire. Could be decent if Tumblwd switches into like elephant archers or archers in general. But I think Tumblwd needs to come up with an option that can deal with all of this. Stable is not bad. But lack of knights isn't great. Battle elephants could be good. But the addition of pikes potentially, or fire lancers even, is there for Ketons. You see the eco is almost exactly the same, but we're going to watch Tumblwd's eco and villager count grow if he can maintain and keep these villagers alive. Starts running away with them. I wonder where he'll run to. A TC out in the water wouldn't be awful. Could do it right next to a rhino. Get some resources there. Have the deep sea fish for long-term gathering. TC here could be okay. Running this way. The Keton player is just trying to lock down the base. You have to remember, since the water's here, it can be easy to get around this. Attacking the blacksmith in the market could be useful for taking out some of the buildings. Some scouts on the way, which could disrupt the eco over here, but a lot of this eco is really well compacted. This is a very defendable location. Everything's pretty safe, so very solid there. Another benefit is that, like I said earlier, the 2 villagers for each pasture means that more of your villagers are safe because they're closer to the TC, so they can be there. Whereas the farms, like these farms, are pressured early on for Tumblwd. So one of the advantages of pastures. Tumblwd though really on the stone here, so a castle drop could be imminent. And there it is. This is really aggressive. He's going to wrap all the way around, but the army of Tumblwd and LeOri is entirely out of position to stop this. So if there's no rocket cart on the way to stop this, this is going to hit like a truck. And one of the weaknesses of having 2 villagers per pasture is that the resources you commit to them can be denied that much more aggressively. All of these pastures will be denied. So you're losing 6 villagers worth of farms, similar to how these can be pressured, is the flip side of that. Scouts are attacking the dock. They could go hunting for fishing ships. So they could go kill these fishing ships if you just clicks them out here, but obviously you have to go find them. And while they're doing that though, they're going over here. And this is a 1-2 punch that's really solid. Your scouts are roaming for villagers that want to make a run for it or try to secure different territory. And at the same time, you're denying all the compactness of this base. So that's the weakness of having a compact base, right? So that's what strategy is about, really. Taking your opponent's strengths and turning them into weaknesses, and taking your weaknesses and turning them into strengths, right? So look at this. This is going to be brutal. PC is going to go down 2 probably. We'll see how LeOri can recover from this. It's going to be difficult. And at the same time, all of these TCs are going to be very good for Tumblwd. And this is the type of play I kind of expected from him to be a scrappy player that's capable of surviving in these chaotic situations. Sending them into the castle, a little bit crazy. I could see a battering ram come out. Oh, this might actually work. So they do a good deal of damage because they have the plus attack. He needs to get close. Yep. So I wonder if we'll see a university in murder holes. But this is not bad at all. This will kill this castle. A second castle to stop this, or a tower even from Tumblwd. Some Arumai swordsmen might be needed here. Some villager micro maybe to kill this. This is a really heads-up game plan by LeOri. Very smart decision to go forward here. Second ram's coming in, more infantry coming to support this push. These could be utilized to attack, obviously, but there's a lot of focus here. I think this castle will go down. So good response by LeOri. This is a solid option here. What a masterclass in surviving pressure. We'll get access to the pastures again, to the gold, to the wood again. All of it will be safe. Definitely delayed him though. And all the while, this and this is all still producing away. And this is really decent, but I think these guys will roll over here and fight here. I think they could see this, right? Oh, they can. That's kind of a sneaky little mining camp. But it's about to be discovered. Yeah, Tumblwd calls it. Nice game. That was really good. That was actually very well played by LeOri. He survives the pressure. I think Tumblwd went for the correct assessment of doing a castle, going the extra step, maybe making a tower behind it, or another castle would have been really well planned. Or just expanding with the 2 TCs off to the side, knowing that you really disrupted the economy over here. Both players kind of left the fishing ecos, which in a chaotic game like this can be okay, but there was definitely opportunities to attack and kill 7 fishing ships or 6 fishing ships or 4 fishing ships from both sides. So something maybe to consider in the future is that's another way to kneecap your opponent, especially on a map like this. But really great game, actually. This was an exciting one. I can see them really brawling it out and really fighting it out. So that was really good. I think Tumblwd adapted to the Keton pressure, but that fast castle timing was just brutal. And the ability to have forging do double damage for your man-at-arms and match your man-at-arms with that was just really great. So good game. Good, really fun game to watch for game 1. So let's move on to game number 2. This one's going to be on that border dispute. So this one, if LeOri is not prepared, Tumblwd could have some stuff planned, and it could be really hard to play really quickly. So I'm expecting an all-out brawl on this map, something that's going to be interesting, fun to watch. We'll see how it goes. See, it's the 9 villager start that happens in Warlord 4, because this is the Warlord 4 version of the map. So something that both of the players will need to recognize. It looks like LeOri is not too unfamiliar. Immediately pulls one of the boar, immediately pulls the other boar, puts everything in, goes for the third boar. Well practiced on the map, it looks like. I think a villager is going to go down. You're going to try to steal immediately off the back. Gets both of the boars pulled. This boar is not pulled yet, but soon will be. But both of them get both of their boars in before they could steal one of the others. Tumblwd unfortunately loses a villager early on. which isn't great for him. But that is how that goes. Scouting to get the sheep early on is a good plan. Shorefish is not bad either, so you're going to go for some shorefish here. Jerkins are a really, really good option, right? Because you bring the boars in and you don't have to worry about DK on your, DK, not Donkey Kong, DK on your guys under here, your boar and your sheep and all that stuff. You can just kill it all really if you wanted to. Very good option for this map actually. But I'm suspecting that the Korean player will be utilizing those towers really aggressively. So I'm excited to see how he places them, where he places them, how he kind of locks in LeOri into the map. Maybe a bit of a rough start. The LTC is getting up there. Maybe LeOri is kind of feeling it after that first game. Definitely have that happen to me where you feel like you played really, really well and then it starts to affect the whole set. And you start doing great. You're just having a good day, you know? So we'll see how this turns out. Also came prepared, it looks like. LeOri seems to have really good strategy selection for this map. Immediately sending all 3 villagers forward. One takes one boar, one takes the other boar, and then one goes for the potential to kill or steal your opponent's boar. And not to mention the Jerkins are very good for this map actually. So, but the matchup in general for the long term, oh, I forgot to do this. And we'll switch over to the blue. Matchup in general. So Jerkins are really good at that Castle Age siege timing. They have the siege engineers. They can go for the rocket carts, which are really effective. And they have fire lancers that can be really good. Grenadiers, which can be okay. I don't think they're that crazy. Their unique unit is the Iron Pagoda, which can be very strong for killing villagers under TCs or pushing back against enemy siege. Not to mention fortified bastions can be really great for like a castle or for a tower war to heal up their tower in that continuous fight. Whereas the Koreans get more of a standard straight up tower pressure. They get the upgraded towers. They have the stone miners who work faster, so you can get more castles, more towers quicker. Their ranged soldiers are cheaper on the wood cost, so they can mass more archers, like a 2-range archer, which funds the towers, the tower style play, because you can put your archers in the towers to get more arrows quickly. So I'm expecting to see that type of stuff. But we'll see how they get there first, because I think there is an option to either play aggressive and feudal or aggressive after by going to Castle Age faster. Going for the dock in the center. Don't know if I like the dock. A fishing ship could be okay, but the ability to secure this is so hard. I mean, I guess if you go for a tower forward and start trying to deny and gain position, it can be effective. But the Jerkin player is on the way up to the Castle Age. 200 more resources, probably a combination of better idle TC time, not losing a villager, and also the lack of decay on the food underneath the TC. Seems to be going for that fast castle style approach, which I expect to be pretty solid. Maybe towers though. 2 on stone is maybe a bit too little. But if you go for 3 villagers in feudal or in castle, yeah, in feudal timing, you can definitely send them to stone and then get enough for the castle on the way up to Castle Age. So we'll see how that plays out. 2 lumber camps. They're pretty close by though, so this could be denied by pressure, but it's unlikely to happen on this map with the Jerkins build. Let's see how much the Korean player sees. So doesn't quite see the entire map. Is going to probably scout this pretty soon. The Jerkins player does know that there's fishing ships, and this is the danger of the fishing ships, is they can be pressured like this. I wonder if he'll get one. That would be crazy, right? Feudal Age hits, and that's going to be a stronger scout, doing more damage. Probably will kill this fishing ship now. Looks like he's going to go forward with power, so it's going to be a tower aggression in feudal. Kills the fishing ship. Might kill the other fishing ship. So that's dangerous. And during this time, doesn't quite scout. Tumblwd doesn't quite scout the stone. So not knowing that stone is there for towers can be a bit dangerous. And this tower is very important to go up. But I think Tumblwd will just rush this down. If he reacts accordingly, he'll just pick his villagers and fight this off. Good wall though from LeOri. Another good wall. Stops the... I mean, the villagers still can hit this though. They can definitely punch this down. So here they come. More fishing ships being added. Like I said, I think the fishing ships aren't great in the middle. They actually are slower at gathering shorefish, so they're not as good when it comes to shorefish. But this commitment by LeOri might be really bad. Villagers getting trapped in here. They'll run into here. But this tower's going to go down right afterwards. So even though he walled in the sides to stop this from happening, at the end of the day, the villagers can just beat it down and then try to kill the villagers. So they'll run away. But it's still causing some pressure, right? Some focus to be directed towards your opponent's base rather than coming for a counterattack. Using the wood from the houses. So you could have deleted those and got those back for resources, but that's okay. Houses over on the Korean side. Lots of wood though to add farms. The horse collar coming in too tells me that a bunch of farms will be added soon. But while this is happening, the Jerkins player is almost on their way to the Castle Age. So that should be happening shortly, I'm expecting. And then if they put all of these villagers onto stone, they might be playing for a castle draw, which can be downright devastating. Like a castle here, denying gold, denying the TC. Could just be absolutely awful. Something that Tumblwd's doing that's great though is positioning the farms really well to keep them away from potential aggression over here. Like if the tower got down and then another here and then another here, the farms are perfectly placed. So that's really good. Heads up thinking, smart thinking. So we'll see how that plays out. You're building a galley in the sun. See, this is a little bit silly. This is why I think it's a little silly. Because there's, I mean, I guess you could do a fishing ship or a fishing trap economy. It's a bit much. There's no deep sea fish to make this effective, unfortunately. So, still waiting on a bit more gold for the castle timing. Getting the market, probably going to sell food and then just go up. Has the blacksmith in the market to go up. Building the barracks. I wonder if it will be a grenadier option or what option it will be. Step lancers could also be good. I believe they have step lancers. Yep, they got step lancers. So the step lancers are not awful. They get plus 20 faster fighting step lancers, which can be really good to play scouts as well. I think Jerkin's scouts is underappreciated. A lot of people like their fast castle shenanigans with their non-decaying food to allow them to get there easier, but I think their scout, like their traditional meta play, can be really good as well. Like they can play scouts. Their 6 scouts beat pretty much any other civilization's 6 scouts if everything's equal. And they can pick off villagers quickly with forging. Forging plus 6 scouts that attack 20% faster kills villagers really quickly, so. Yeah. Galleys actually aren't awful. I think he's utilizing them well. So this is the thing about the farm placement. Place the farms this way, very smart. These farms now are all going to be harassed. So not a bad option. I think the fishing ships are not great, but I don't mind the dock or shorefish. You could put like 2 or 3 villagers or 4 villagers, treat it like a mill essentially, because the shorefish are the fastest collected resource for villagers, I believe. So good option there. But the idea to add galleys is smart. I'll give you that, especially when their farms are this way. So nice farms. But here we're going to run into another problem. This is kind of the same problem as the last game, where LeOri just wants to go Castle Age really quickly, whereas Tumblwd has probably the better economy now, but it's going to run into the problem of Castle Age units. So Step Lancers, I assume. With Bloodlines coming in, with Forging coming in, that tells me it's probably going to be either Step Lancers or Scouts, Light Cavalry, right? Both are really solid. I think the Step Lancers make more sense because you want to spend your gold somewhere, but I guess you could go a Light Cav and then also a gold unit, like a Siege unit. But I expect Step Lancers to get a tremendous amount of value. All of this is very exposed, and they can dive under TCs relatively well because they're so quick at attacking and then running away. Yeah, first Step Lancers. In situations like this, when you know your opponent isn't on army, pretty much, except the galleys in the middle, you can send your first step lancer forward immediately. Sometimes you want to wait for your mass to get there, but I mean, there's two sides, I guess, of the story here. You could mass them up and then surprise them with step lancers, but if you see your opponent scouting your step lancers, they'll track your army and they'll be able to respond to it, so you shouldn't get anything. So the most they can do here, realistically, is just push everything off the resources. But massing them up isn't awful either, you know? Keeps your opponent scared. So both have advantages. But I would say when you're this far ahead in terms of castle age timing, just running forward with step lancers would be effective. And massing up the second group at home. Just like send the first one forward, push all of these off. And so even if your opponent reaches castle age and tries to respond, what happens is they're caught in this castle age transition where they have no resources, right? So they need resources to stop your step lancers, and you push them off the resources early on, which causes like a ripple effect, where then the second mass of step lancers is now harder to respond to. But like I said, it's fine to wait, because when these step lancers hit, if it's unexpected, they will kill 4, 5, 6 villagers immediately. So we'll see how that plays out. But the stone gathering over here will be really solid. For a castle, defensive castle would lock a lot of this down and stop the step lancers, which is another reason maybe why you want to attack quickly, because once your opponent reaches castle, they can rush down the castle here and defend everything. So we'll see how that goes. I think archers are a good option, especially against step lancers. They're kind of weaker to range attacks. Something though is the Jerkins do have bloodlines as opposed to the Tetons who lack it, so their step lancers are a bit hardier. But here they go on the wood line. This is where it's going to be real destructive. Villager count's going to start to really drop. Lots of kills. It's hard to recover from this too. The pikemen are not actually the greatest option against step lancers, unfortunately. They definitely can work cost effectively, but they have problems with, oh man, this is going to cost so many villagers though, unfortunately. They definitely can lose to step lancers too. Like, they don't do it that much actually, unfortunately, to them. You need a bunch of them, and not only that, the step lancer player can determine when the fights are going to happen. But second TC added for LeOri. I think he's just playing this really intelligently. Get an advantage with the timing, kill a bunch of villagers and deny the castle. Just feels unfortunate and awful for Tumblwd. But the ability to add war wagons is actually a great answer to step lancers. It's just really difficult when you're down to 20 villagers like this. They killed so many. That's why step lancers are so strong. They produce so quickly. It's like 22 seconds. They're relatively cheap for what they are. And then also, obviously, the fast castle potential timing. So, I think this would be the game, right? If he moves his units over here and forces this to not happen yet. But we'll see. Gets the castle done. I think the damage was done. I wonder what he's making now, though. A couple more step lancers still. Could send them around to do some hunting. But 2 TCs. Maybe at this point you'd want to add the 3rd TC if you're LeOri. Maybe buy stone. You've got 500 gold. Just like really utilize the position. TC here to defend this, and also have wood and stone. TC here could be solid. Just to really boom ahead. I mean, once you've got the economy for it too. 18 farms is the perfect amount of farms for 3 TCs. If you had no other military unit, so we'll see how that plays out. But from this position, it's just really hard. It's 2 times as many villagers. Second TC is already up for LeOri. Still has the potential to commit back into army again and just like run through the fields and raid everything again one more time. And that puts Tumblwd in a really bad position. You gotta give it to him, holding on, trying to play it out. I wonder if he'll be able to recover from this. Little bit coming in, so it's good to check your upgrades, and he did. Making sure he's not missing that one. That is something that LeOri is missing: his bullet, horse collar, and double bit axe. When he's focusing so much on this like step lancer timing, it can actually mean that his eco is not as ahead as it seems. Even though he's like 20 villagers ahead, it's not as crazy as you would think, which is a little bit crazy in of itself. Stone is defended too for another castle. Just good decent wood lines too that are defended here. Some mill potential with the berries, and then the ability to add farms around the castle. So everything is relatively defended now. Adding in a siege workshop. Now this is where LeOri might sort of take the previous game's experience and utilize it to do a siege push on the castle here. And I think in this situation it'd actually be a mistake. If he goes for a rams and like infantry switch, it probably would be not so great, because the ability to add 2 ranges and the war wagons would be really strong. So I think he's gonna do it. I guess adding in 1 siege workshop is not awful, but 3-4 villagers could kill that, or even just the pikemen could kill the siege going forward without support. So we'll see how that works. I wonder if adding a 3rd TC would be effective here. I mean, getting the stone is great. 8 on stone and enough to build a 3rd TC. That'd be the way back into this game. I mean, the pressure is going to come in from the siege workshops. 2 or 3 rams. Don't think will be enough. Adding in crossbow and blast furnace. So it seems like you're kind of just going for everything, which is fine if you're this far ahead, but then you got to utilize all your units and do something with them. 3rd TC coming down in a great location too. I think there's a chance for Tumblwd to come back, actually. The more space LeOri's giving him, the better chance he can come back. It is. War wagons coming in. This is a solid, beefy unit. Great unit to just keep producing. If there's one unit you'd want, I think this would be it. Going for War Galley, which I mean, if you keep attacking this TC, it will go down eventually. It's probably not a fun feeling hearing that attack notification over and over and over again. Turtle ship, maybe? Would that be crazy? Adding a turtle ship in? I wonder if they also get like a late game option. Like a siege ship. I mean, I think they get cannon galleons. They don't get dromons. But yeah, they definitely have cannon galleons. So a cannon galleon here could siege this and maybe even this for sure, right? Cannon galleon kills this, kills all these buildings. So this might... There is definitely, I can see the road starting to emerge. So Tumblwd's doing a great job of fighting his way back, clawing his way back into this game, and just really finding the path forward. Crossbow being teched into. So this is not great against the Koreans. The Koreans are really good save at dealing with crossbow, really good save at dealing with ranged. They just keep massing war wagons. They have the skirmishers. They get the free armor upgrade on their archery units. That just happens every single age. So they've got the leather archer armor already. So I could see this being effective. More pressure happening now. This TC will eventually go down. Here comes the push though. Let's see how Tumblwd deals with this. He can stop this, I think. I don't know if this is effective enough. Villagers can come forward, pike can come forward to kill this. This is not as great as I think LeOri thinks it might be, but if it's not responded to, it could be a problem. War wagons could deal with this. Oh, a counter push though. This is hard to stop too because the war galleys are here to protect this. So that's going to speed up the time on that. But as this is happening, this isn't being responded to, which is going to be very difficult. Losing your castle is not great here. Then all of this starts to become more exposed from this siege push on the west here. But this is quickly becoming chaotic. I think this is the exact thing Tumblwd wants for a game like this. It's for it to be messy. Now you can start to push down all of these buildings here. Yep, here he goes. War wagons coming back to defend. Villagers trying to repair. Castle does go down. So that was slowly responded to. Now the castle is down. The step lancers are running in. This might be really deadly now. The war wagons don't do that great against step lancers when they're not massed, because they attack so slowly, whereas the step lancers just attack so quickly. This is going to be difficult now. Siege push is still happening though over here, so buildings being lost. Villagers could try to kill down, fight down these I didn't realize so many villages about to be lost here. More galleys coming back to try to help. Villagers running to the shore. More galleys might clean this up though. I mean, step lancers aren't awful either though. Just killing stuff. Everything dies in the water. Castle of 4. This is an aggressive one. So that's playing out that way. Not enough for a defensive castle or Tumblwd. And now you see LeOri pulling away with resources. So I think just losing this castle is just kind of crushing the whole position. The push starts to happen. But I think defending it was very possible. You can even throw villagers to defend it. Some of the pikemen maybe, war wagons, I don't know, there's so many things. It's just about timeliness, right? Responding with the timely manner. This castle though is going to be really rough. Targets the TC, and then I'm sure this TC will be the next target. Be pressured and pushed. But at this point it's really difficult. It's going to start to snowball out of control. Even though these two are doing great, but one step lancer could come back and just deal with this, but I'm sure there's a lot going on for both players. Here, this is just not going to work, unfortunately. This is why step lancers can be really strong too against pikemen. Because once they get going, once they start snowballing, it's really hard to stop. They're a very snowbally unit. This pressure is happening here. Everything's just sitting near the TC now. I think this will be where the game probably ends. Gonna try to survive with some sneaky TCs. This is actually not a bad TC. Because it's hard for them to ever find it. LeOri to ever find it. Let's keep the TC. This TC will go down. Villagers will be hunted. And at this point, it is so hard to come back, if not impossible. So, a couple of crazy games. Really good ones. Really snowballing though. When somebody started to gain advantage, they just took it all the way. So, can be effective there. LeOri's playing really well, I think, this game. He's learned a lot and had some really good strategy coming into these games, which is exciting to see. This is Tumblwd's first showing, at least from my viewings. And I think he plays exactly what I was expecting in terms of like being a brawler, being aggressive. I just think LeOri brought a strategy selection here, and LeOri also was already pretty aggressive in his game, so he just kind of matched that aggression with good strategy as well. So Imperial timing, I mean, that should do it as well, right? Imperial is hard to beat. Bunch of barracks here, so trying to go for the pikemen, which isn't awful by any means. Fire lancers is good too. It's a good option. That might be one of the few units that will answer step lancers really well, actually. Taking all the farms. I don't know if you're still able to actually take these farms. It's a bug that's been around for a while now. You used to be able to just skip these farms by clicking on the villagers, and you can delete them and do whatever you want with them. So, see how this goes. Bunch of barracks. I mean, there's it's really difficult. I was gonna say there's a potential, but probably not. I think the window is closed for the ability to win. It's good to get some experience in the fights. Yep, GG. It's called. Imperial timing's on its way. And that is the game. So, solid sets. I think both of the sets were actually really competitive. In these type of chaotic games, it feels like somebody just like blows the other out. But that's not the case at all, I don't think. Like, the games end really quickly, don't get me wrong, when they snowball out of control. But there's a lot of posturing and positional advantage and a lot of decisions that go into those moments that cause the game to be ran over. But this game was really interesting. I like the galleys in the center to try to kill the TC. And the ram push to back up on it. I think the biggest thing is that castle held the position, essentially. So although the step lancers and the crossbow from LeOri probably could have ran around and tried to do damage around here, the ability to defend with a bunch of war wagons and try to hold the position with a bunch of pikes or fire lancers was definitely possible. And I think that if there was a civ to do it, it'd be the Koreans to continuously try to build up war wagons, have a bunch of castles with defenses to keep the Jurkins from being able to use the step lancers like they wanted to. But overall, good game, good set. LeOri takes both of them. Seen a lot of growth from LeOri, though. So, an interesting player to watch. And then I'm expecting to see more aggression and more adaptation from Tumblwd going into the future. So, great game from both players, well played by both players. And thanks for watching, everybody.